long time Toastmaster of this club, who is also the founding member of this club, who had played lot of roles in this club. He had been the VP of Education, Secretary, ex-President. So the list is long. So please welcome Toastmaster Joseph. Toastmaster Joseph, organizing your.
Sorry, do you need any timing notification?
It's impromptu.
Okay.
15 minutes? 15.
Up to you, if you want.
10, 15, put 10 minutes and then 5 minutes after that, if required. I may not require it.
Thank you.
So, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Great.
Good? Great?
Great.
You sound great. Is it great?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
You're scared.
Yeah, you scared everyone. So now they don't want to speak. They're already thinking about a girl with a red apple. I'm sure I'm going to have a nightmare tonight. Okay, so you heard a good speech today. It was a very nice speech. I really enjoyed it. What makes a good speech? So there's the presentation. I'm not going to bother too much about it. I want to have a more interactive session. What are the elements of a good speech?
A honest script.
An honest script. Okay.
If there is a story where I can connect.
A story you can connect.
Anecdotal.
Anecdotal. Anecdotal.
Which is practical, like people can implement it after listening to it.
Practical. So it depends on the purpose of the speech. What are the different, I'll ask this Toastmasters here, what are the 4 different reasons for a speech? To entertain,
Persuade.
Inform and motivate. Okay. So there is a purpose for a speech, right? So that is one of the first things that a good speech has. There is a purpose. You are either trying to make them laugh, or you want to make their the cogs in their to make them more cognizant, and ask them to do something different, something which they would not do normally. And what is a good speech? A good speech is one which will probably remain with you, right? It's something that you will remember. I always remember maybe many of the speeches that Narayan has done, many of the speeches which Abhinav has done when I was coming here regularly. That stays with you. That message, the ideas, maybe some of the jokes, some of the language used, it will just stay with you. And that is for what I consider a good speech. So, how can you create a good speech? How do you go about in doing it?
You're taking a simple approach.
Mm-hmm. You have an idea, right? You start off with an idea that you have. Something, ideally, which should, logically you should try to find out who the audience is and then tailor it to that audience. So, you can't have an old audience and say that, it's great to be young. It'll fall flat. So, based on the audience, based on the message that you want to give, it might be a message that will be equal to all. It's something which can impress anybody, any age, sex or gender, whatever the case may be. So, do you prefer a speech which will just go on and on, or never? No, generally not. It should be timed speech, generally, and you should get that message. So how do you go about doing that? Tell them what you're going to say. You tell them, okay, today I'm going to talk to you about how to organize your speech. That is my plan for today. Tell them exactly what it is. So you're going to tell them that I'm going to tell you this first. Second is, you're going to say that what exactly is the message. At the end, what are you going to do? Tell them what you told. I told you this already. So with 3 times, you're basically bombarding their brain saying that this is my message. My message is, I want you to collect waste and segregate waste. Then I'll tell you about waste segregation. At the end, I told you about, say, waste segregation, so please do it. So with that method, you can easily get that speech into someone's head. You'll organize it in a very structured manner. So now let's go ahead and see developing an outline. What do you mean by an outline? You will have, for those of you who have sat and done a speech, you have two options. One is you have no ideas at all. You'll be sitting in front of the papers thinking, what should I write? The other is, or usually what happens soon afterwards, you get an idea and then the ideas just start flowing. You have so many points, but you don't have the ability to put all those points into a speech, right? Because you don't want to speak for an hour. The attention span of people have come down so much. That's why YouTube is very famous. You have 5 to 10 minute video which everyone can consume. That's another topic anyway. But that's why our speeches are also in the range of 5 to 10 minutes. It's to the point. And what is the other purpose of time limit? Why is it good to have a time limit for a speech?
So there won't be any deviation from the actual message.
Actual message?
People get bored when a speech becomes longer.
Yeah, that is true. That's what I mentioned. But the other purpose of a speech is when you know there's a time limit and when you start preparing a speech or you start preparing an outline, then your message, you will initially maybe have a essay of some 1,500 words. But when you try doing that speech, you will see that you're taking 15 minutes. Then you will try to shrink it. Then how will you shrink it? By saying, okay, what is not necessary? What is the messages or the extra unnecessary things in my speech? You start removing them, right? You start removing each one of those things and make a more crisper, a more digestible product, right? So that's exactly what we need to do. So we start off with an introduction. Introduction is what I mentioned. You're going to tell them what you're going to say, or you can use something called a hook. Hook is a good technique wherein you will use either an anecdote or you will use a very odd question or you will do something to surprise the audience and get their attention. So you can use that for your introduction to have a good introduction. Then the body. The body are the different points. So you need to organize your different points, your main ideas and points into a very logical order. So that is also something which will help in a time limit. When you start doing, you use your time limit and you start organizing your speech, you will also understand that you need to order it in the right way so that the message comes in a good flow. Because if there's no good flow, then your speech again goes awry. Supporting material. So if you need any supporting material, if you want to have any kind of graphics, PPTs, or any other stationery which you want, you can always use that. And also supporting material also means things like you get things off the internet, information off the internet, anything which will support your message or your speech. Conclusion. Conclusion also needs to be very, very strong. It has to give the same idea or even stronger than the body and the introduction, so that the last message which people hear is what is going to retain the most. So please make sure that your conclusion is good. Filling in the outline, you list your key points, you arrange it in the order like I mentioned. Expand upon these points. So take each point, expand it, see how it is, make changes. You will go through many iterations. The other thing that you must do when you're organizing a speech, or if you want to do a good speech or good prepared speeches, have a mentor. It does wonders because you have a certain mindset, you have a certain way of thought or a flow of thought. But when your mentor looks at it, maybe he doesn't feel the same flow. And that might be the same case for many of the speakers there, or many of the listeners or your audience there. So have a mentor go through your script. He will also say, okay, this doesn't make sense to me, that doesn't make sense to me. It might make sense to you, but it may not make sense to him. And however, let me put the disclaimer, it is up to you whether you want to follow your mentor's speech, but usually a good mentor will try to only improve your speech. So expand upon these points and develop a good introduction and develop a good close. Body is required, but an introduction and close is usually what is retained in the mind. The other option that you have is creating a mind map. Have you seen mind maps? So a mind map is basically a tool that they use for kind of organizing ideas. So you'll have your main topic in the center. So we'll just have a look at it. So you'll have your main topic in the center and you will add different items like tell them formula. If you want to use the tell them formula, you want to use an outline, you want to develop the main idea first, take each one of these and try to expand them. Go into each left and try to find more points about it. Try to expand them, try to understand it, and then organize your speech. So you can have an outline and then see how the outline will become your intro, body, and conclusion, or the end. So that is how you kind of expand it. For your own speeches, you need to find out what is your idea and see how your idea, how the flow of that idea needs to go. Ideally, for each idea, it's better to have a separate paper and you kind of separate that out and elaborate those points separately so that you can free your mind of the entire, it should not be getting too cluttered. So if you have a mind map and you'll have maybe one map which has too many items across, too many ideas, so it might not be possible to elaborate those ideas on the same sheet of paper. Take another sheet of paper and elaborate those ideas. You can use color coding, anything which will help you to organize it better. So it is best to do things systematically, since we are only human and disorders is our worst enemy. So this is a quote from Hesiod, who's an ancient Greek poet. So just to conclude, if you want to do a good speech, what are the points? What are the main points?
Have a outline first.
Have a good outline.
Simple approach. Then use proper fillers.
Fillers.
Others should open up.
Yeah.
Use mind maps.
I want new people. The people who are new.
The conclusion
Should be strong. The introduction should be strong. You have good points which are connected, well connected. They are logically placed, so that people can understand. Okay, so this is how you can prepare a good speech. But please ensure that it gets reviewed by a good mentor, so that it will get better. I mean, the entire purpose of a mentorship is for that. It's not part of the slide, but I just wanted to say from a Toastmaster perspective, use the resources available to you to the best of your advantage. Thank you.
Question answer, if anybody have question.
Q&A.
Oh, sorry. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions?
Despite knowing all these facts, it becomes very difficult to get a story or a nice anecdote to connect with that idea. And I've surfed enough online and I was not convinced with any of those stories or short,
The best stories are your own stories, usually. So I would always suggest take something from your personal experience or someone else's personal experience, because whatever you get online, nowadays almost everyone would have read it, or usually people will take something from YouTube, 100% at least some 5-6 people in the room would have heard it. So my suggestion for anything is you can always take some stuff from the internet, but you have your original content as much as possible. I'm sure this is an original story of yours. Or
I won't believe. I confirm not deny.
Okay. It sounds like a more or less story, but even if you lifted it, you lift it well so that no one knows that you lifted it. I'll put it that way as well. If you can plagiarize in the extent that it looks like an original piece, that also is fine for a good speech. Okay. And regarding whether anecdotes, you don't need to force fit anything. I will always say that don't force fit something. Just you have to have an anecdote is not necessary for any good speech. It's always good. Vocal variety, language, all are good, but there are so many speakers who don't have all of that but still give amazing, impactful speeches. Okay, it's just a matter of what message you're going to give. How you're going to give it will improve it. I'm not saying that, I'm not going to say that you should not have vocal variety. All those things will improve your speech for sure, but there are a lot of people who can speak without, using all fancy words and all those things. You don't need to be a Shashi Tharoor to give a speech.
We discussed that day. What I have felt is that if your speech has one idea, only one idea, it will work. It will help you better to write better and to speak better also.
Yes.
Not more than one idea is there, you will forget what is the main point. So that is main point was written there. Main point should be only one. The ways to do it could be different.
So if you look at your icebreaker speech, people follow different methods. So the method doesn't matter. You can go in a chronological order. You can talk about your family. You can take one incident of your life. It's just about breaking that ice and giving a speech to people. So that's always a good area to start. I hope that anyone here who's yet to do an icebreaker, Okay, so hopefully next time you can plan it. So take a piece of paper. My suggestion is always written is best. That's what I felt. Typing also you can do if you are, but when you write it down and start cutting it, it makes a difference. So you can feel it. I mean, I'm a little old-fashioned, so I like that. But even computer-wise, if you want to just do a good speech, you can do a computer, take a printout, and then start making changes to it, and then redo it. So if you're the best speakers, I think, do how many iterations? At least 10 to 15. You know it at least. The same speech, they might have 10 versions of it, right?
Actually, it's me 20 items at least.
Yeah, so they sometimes make them revise it some 20 to 30 times to make it a really good speech. You might feel that, okay, I don't want to waste so much time, but it does help. Okay. Any other questions?
You mentioned that introduction and conclusion should be strong.
Yes.
What according to you should be a strong conclusion? How should we end?
End is like, it depends on if you're doing something kind of motivation, then you need to raise your voice or make an action or something like that is usually something that's impactful. If ideally you should just repeat those points in a very good way that people can remember. One trick that many people use is they'll use the same way. What is that Prakash used one for his
Some catchphrase.
There's a catchphrase. So he had
Take a deep
catchphrase.
breath and go with the flow.
Yes.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. So he kept saying go with the flow, and he ended the speech with go with the flow. Like that, and he finished it. But it sticks. I mean, I heard it a long time ago, so missed, but it clicks to many people. At least I remember that the speech was about being calm and cool. I still remember bits and pieces of that speech. So you can even start and end with the same thing, but usually starting a hook would be something like you ask a question which will sometimes even irritate the audience also. You will ask something maybe even, not the sex, that's politics, religion, but something which will invoke their intention. Basically your intent is, people are all coming after a long day of work. I've had a very long day of work. We want you to listen to me and listen to my idea. Try to use something to bring it there. I think for icebreaker, someone gave a big story about how they were born. The thunder struck, and it was holy, and everyone was playing, and I was the holy boy, something like that. It just starts off with if you can make someone laugh at the beginning, that's my preferred way of humor. Is my preferred way of starting any speech. If you can start with that, that's also good. Get people. Yeah.
He had a question. Vijay had a question.
Yeah.
So in 7 minutes, maximum 7 minutes, 20 seconds we can go. How much it's going to make an impact if I'm using some audio clip of 10 second, 20 second, video clip, PPT, all of them or one of them, what should be my strategy?
You should not use too much of these supporting, what is the word? I'm sorry, I'm missing my word.
Accessories.
Accessories or whatever it's called. Don't use it to the way that, use it to your advantage. Okay, so there is no formula saying that you can't use a PPT throughout. I used a PPT most of it because I was not prepared. So this is about the speeches, apologize for that. But if you are looking for an audio clip, 10 seconds is okay, 10-15 seconds. But it should not be a speech where you will show a video for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and your speaking time is being killed. You should not have anything which will distract the audience from you. You are speaking, your message is important. If they are sitting, if there's a GIF, I think last time in one of our meetings, we had a video which was Toastmaster video was playing. It was distracting me.
Yeah.
So I asked someone to please stop it because I want to listen to you, but then we have those animalistics where we start looking at things which are shiny or which keep moving. So we have the tendency to do that. So you should, if it depends on how it fits in your speech. If it's something which is very crucial and essential for your speech, please go ahead and do it. But it should not take away your strength. People should not be looking over there and not listening to what you're saying.
I have a point on that. Unless your speech requires that, try to give a speech without it. Can you give a speech without showing that thing also? If you'll get to know if it's required or not required. Think about it.
Definitely
Now it
avoid PPTs with too much text content. If you do that, if you have, I think there's 36, 20, 10 or something is the numbers, I forgot exactly. but you should have huge font. There should be around only some 10-15 words on a slide. It should be like catchphrases or basic words. You will not find that in the corporate world, because in corporate world you have to do all status reports. It's not meant for that. But if you're going to give a presentation, if you see, I think even Larry Ellison's, he has only some 3 bullet points every time.
I saw a video from Seth Godin. He's a blogger.
Yeah.
He said if your PPT size of the font is not 80, you will not read it.
1.8.
And how 80?
80.
Okay, that means how many words can you put on the screen? 2 words, 3 words, enough. He said the older people grow, they can't read lines like this. Younger people might read. So whatever your font size is, make it 80. Then think about it, how much can you put? And that actually made sense. So each PPT which we show today, the font was 30. Increased double. Just show a word and speak. I remember in my college, somebody from Oracle came in our last day function. He had 7 slides and each slide had only one word. And he spoke for 2 hours. I was so impressed. Where is this person in Oracle?
So that's how you came here.
Sometimes what I was trying to say is, if your project speech demands a PPT or audio visual tool, use it as a tool. If you're talking about contest perspective, my personal opinion, a big no for any of the accessories.
Contest and all you should not.
But for example, I want to show some data, like how population is growing. So can I show some chart, or I should just give orally?
Are you talking about contest perspective or a project speech?
A project is speech.
If your project objective demands that you show research material or a pictorial representation of your script, please use it.
If doesn't demand,
Don't use it.
I should already tell like the population is growing by this way.
You can
There's
say
no,
already.
you can
I
even
have
go from here to here. I mean, from 1,000 to 1 million. I mean, you can.
But you can't remember that much.
Go
Go to Google, search for Hans Rosling. You'll get an answer. HANSROSLING. This guy always talks in, I mean, now he's dead, but all his TEDx talks and all are about presentations. How much data has grown population wise, and how beautifully he can speak with just using that. You'll see that. Today, I mean, everybody should see this. Hans Rosling.
Hands?
Rosling. HANSROSLING.
So the other thing, what I'd suggest, if you want to do good speeches, come to sessions, listen to other speeches, even the bad ones. I mean, I won't see that any speech is bad. Everyone has put in a lot of effort to give a speech. It's just that, you will see some things which you'll say that, okay, it can be done better. You can do it a little bit better. Like eye contact with the respective team members. You can learn from your mistakes, learn from others' mistakes as well, and learn the good things also, what other people do, the way they have done a presentation, or how they've conducted themselves. It is all of you. Any other questions? Is my time up?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
I
okay.
paused that when you first
That's okay. Any other questions? Basically, I need questions from the guys who are new. The other guys will have better ideas than
I
me.
have a question. People who are not giving speeches, why? Why are people not giving speeches? What's stopping them from giving speeches?
Yeah, what's stopping you?
For everybody, including everybody,
I am not
including you.
Including me.
Sometimes I get an idea, but I find it difficult to elaborate on that idea. That writer block I face most of the times. And it takes me actually 15 to 20 days to write a speech. But preparation I don't.
Most of the people have this block. The reason you get trying so hard, you just relax, settle down. Just do not take pressure on your head. I think you will definitely cry.
Or like I said, you just take random ideas and put it on the paper and then start organizing it. I mean, in the sense, random ideas means you have your main topic and ideas for that topic. How do you want to go? You can take it in any direction. If you take something like environmental issues, you can talk about segregation, you can talk about how cars are polluting. It depends on what direction you want to go. You can put in all your ideas and start cleaning it up based on the stories that you have.
Nice.
Okay then.
Thank you.
Thank you.